So yes, getting back to the question of how can individuals and organizations, teams succeed in a constantly changing dynamic world, is that the secret sauce then? Is that it, super flexibility?
So when I think about adaptation and flexibility, I would say today it is not a nice to have, it's a must have. Now, for some businesses, it is the only must have, because if you're in a technology business and you have to constantly keep ahead of your competitors, you constantly have to think about new market opportunities, new growth drivers, etc. In some other businesses, it might be more of a nice to have, but I would argue, as I look around retail, publishing, oil and gas, energy sector, I honestly cannot think about any business that does not need to adapt to new realities of business world. So I would say, A, you have to think about it as a must-have rather than a nice-to-have. Secondly, I like to bring up the famous Charles Darwin quote, which is, "It is not the strongest or the most intelligent that survive, it's the most adaptable." And if you look at history, you will find that individuals, teams, and organizations that have survived and succeeded over time, not at a given point in time, but over time, they have had this capacity to adapt and reinvent themselves. So my advice to individuals, teams, and organizations is engage in regular spring cleaning. What do I need to add? What do I need to throw out? What do I need to keep based on the reality that I, my team, my organization finds itself in? And that regular spring cleaning has got to be a prelude to adaptation on a regular basis.
And what drives this adaptability within organizations? Does it come from the top? Is it a groundswell from the bottom? How does an organization succeed?
The leaders of an organization, of course, have a very critical role to play, because they signal whether adaptation is something that is necessary or not. They create that momentum, that sense of urgency. But at the same time, the frontliners are the ones that are picking up all the signals from the market, from the customers, from the competitors. So the best strategy is to use a top-down and a bottom-up. The generals, the leaders have to create the platform, the stage, the conditions, the momentum for adaptation. And the frontliners have to be engaged, because they're the ones that are dealing with market realities on a regular basis. So I would always like to recommend that the generals and the frontliners are in constant communication, so that as new realities come in, they can be strategically interpreted and built into the organizational direction. Otherwise, you end up with, what many call the dinosaur effect. The brain is so far removed from the muscles that your reactions are very, very slow. And that becomes a big challenge.